Hi everyone, this is section 1210 from Nelson Math, grade 6. And the question from our ratios and fractions unit is this. The ratio of flowers to herbs in Babak's garden is 6 to 2. He started with 80 plants. He wants to increase the number of herbs in his garden so that 40% of his plants are herbs. How many more herb plants must he get? So, I've made my chart that looks like this. This is my guess prediction. I'm going to change my guess and my prediction as I get closer or farther or further from the right answer. In this column here, I'm going to be posting the number of flower plants. In this column, the number of herb plants. And in this column, it'll be the total number or the sum of the flower and the herb plants, which would be the number of flower plants added to the number of herb plants. So I'm starting with 60 flower plants and 20 herb plants because that is the only way I could get a ratio of 6 to 2 with 80 total plants. So the information we're given from the question is that we have 80 plants right now, and that 80 is flower and herb. So the only ratio of 6 to 2 of flowers to herbs would be 60 flower to 20 herbs. And that's our 6 to 2 ratio, which gives us 80 total plants of flower and herb. So now we're finding the percentage of this, the percentage of herb plants. So we have 20 herb plants from here, and that's our numerator. We have a total number of flower and herb plants of 80. So that's our 80 as a denominator. And if we change this to a percentage, we get our 25%. However, we want 40% to be herbs, so we're too low. Therefore, we have to start adding more herb plants. We have to make sure we don't add more flower plants because we have enough of those. So let's move now to adding 5 herb plants. If I added 5 herb plants, I'm not changing my number of flower plants, so my flower plants stay at 60. However, when I started off with 20, adding 5 gives me 25 herb plants. So now I have my 60 flower plants, my 25 herb plants, and a total of 85 flower and herb plants. Once again, my fraction here is 25 out of 85 are now herbs. And if we carry that to a percent, we get our 29%. So we're still too low. We have to keep going higher. So let's add 5 more plants. So in this row, I've added 5 more herb plants. Once again, I did not add any more flower plants. We're still at 60 flower plants. I added 5 more herb plants. So 25 plus 5 is now 30 herb plants. And my total number of plants, flower and herb, are now 90. The 60 plants plus 30 plants, 90 plants altogether. My numerator is 30. That's my number of herb plants. My denominator is 90. That's my number of flower and herb plants, my total number of plants. Changing this to a percentage gives us 33%. We are still too low. So let's add 5 more plants. In this case, I added 5 more herb plants. Still, my number of flower plants has not changed. I still have 60 flower plants like I started. I added 5 more to bring me to 35 herb plants. And my total number of plants, my flower plus my herb plants, are now 90. We have 90 of those altogether. 35 out of 95 are now herb plants, and the percentage is 37%, so I'm still too low. Let's go to the next. I'm adding 5 more plants. By adding 5 more herb plants, I'm now at 40 herb plants. My number of flower plants still has not changed. That's there. My total number of flower and herb plants is now 100. So 60 flower plus 40 herb gives me 100 total plants. My percentage of herb is now 40 herb out of 100 total plants. And if we change that to a fraction, to a percent, we now have 40% are herb plants. And we have met our number of 40% being herb plants. So because we started off with 20 and we ended with 40, we had to add 20 new plants. So how many more herb plants must he get? He must get 20 more herb plants for a total of 40% of his plants. And that's how Babak figured out his garden. Have a good day, everyone.